Nuestro siguiente expositor es el señor Clinton Machado. Su tema, cambiando la perspectiva de la logística post-COVID-19. Clinton Machado comenzó su carrera con Maersk Dubai, instrumental en el crecimiento de Maersk en Medio Oriente. Actualmente es jefe de Banano y Piñas para Maersk en la oficina central de Copenhague. Dejo con ustedes, sin más preámbulos, a Clinton Machado y su tema, cambiando la perspectiva de la logística post-COVID-19. Adelante.
Hi, thank you. Can you just confirm if you can hear me?
We can hear you, Clinton. Probably speak a little bit louder.
Okay, thanks. All right, so good morning and good evening, depending on wherever you guys are located. Just a brief introduction for myself. I'm Clinton Machado, the head of verticals for bananas and pineapples at Maersk. And firstly, I would like to thank the organizers of the 17th edition of the Banana Congress for having me on this broadcast. Well, most of you must be really confused on with my surname. I am, just to clarify, I am not Latin American, but I'm actually from India, and I started my career with Maersk back in 2006, and I was based in Dubai. Before heading to the Copenhagen head office to head this beautiful commodity, which is called bananas. Moving into the agenda, I would like to go through a couple of slides here and try to keep it as short and simple as possible. And if you have any questions, you can raise that in the chat box, or we can take this towards the end of the presentation, or you can directly reach out to me at the said email ID at a later date. But before I start with the slide deck, I would like to thank all the banana producers and their staff for keeping the wheels moving on production and exports during these difficult times. So I would like to thank you guys on behalf of Maersk and the organizers of this event. Well, moving straight into the markets, right? So the global seaborne exports of bananas, excluding plantains, are estimated to have reached a new record levels of approximately 20 million tons in 2019. That's approximately a 5% increase compared to 2018. The data indicates that was fueled by a super strong growth and production, primarily out of Ecuador and the Philippines, the two leading exporters, you would say, in the world. The Philippines production level continues to improve while their exports were mainly concentrated into the Asian and the Middle Eastern markets. During 2020, the Chinese demand of Philippine bananas showed a slight dip due to new trading lanes that it opened up with Cambodia. The Cambodian Agricultural Ministry data indicates that the country's total yellow banana export volumes reached almost 121,000 tons during only the first 5 months of 2020. And they target to probably doubling their export volumes next year, primarily into the Chinese and the Vietnamese market. Well, there are no guesses that Latin America continues to be the global leader by contributing to almost 73% of the world's seaborne banana trades, out of which Ecuador caters to almost 34% of this global exports. In 2019, due to some adverse weather conditions contributed by El Nino, it continued to affect the shipments out of key supplying countries, most severely from Costa Rica and Dominican Republic, and to a lesser extent, even from Colombia. But the production out of Costa Rica and Colombia continued to improve through 2020, and we feel is that 2021 would be even better. Ecuador, on the other hand, faced severe challenges due to COVID, which had directly affected due to the low demand at destination countries, leading to crash in spot prices as well as lower baggings of fruit during the later half of the year. Also, the recent ash cloud in Ecuador has affected the exports, but one would hope that in the next 3 or 4 weeks, things would stabilize to a greater extent. Preliminary data indicates a contraction of almost 1 to 4% in the largest net importers of bananas in the world, primarily being the European Union and the United States. The conditions of supply overstrip demand continue to be significantly pressed prices in both these destinations in 2019 and 2020. Particularly during the summer months when competition was mainly from the seasonal fruits, which had a strong base in the United States and the European Union. Meanwhile, in China, the demand of bananas continues to be driven by weather disruptions and diseases-related disruptions to the domestic production, as well as the fast-growing income growth and associated changes in the customer preference when they look at fruit in a different way. Well, on the other hand, the European markets, including Russia, remains vital to Ecuador as it takes almost 60% of their total exports in 2019. For Central American countries, the US is the biggest exporting destination, which takes almost 3.6 million tons of bananas in 2019. But 3.5% lesser than in 2018, owing to the lower production out of Costa Rica, again, because of the bad weather conditions. Assuming that the normal weather conditions would prevail in the coming years and no further spread of banana plant diseases, the current baseline projections expect that the world production of bananas would probably grow by 1.5% to reach approximately 126 million tons by 2029, and that's based by the recently published article by the Food Organization of the United Nations. Well, demand for bananas is forecast to become increasingly saturated in most of the regions and primarily driven by population growth. However, in some rapidly emerging economies, principally like the Middle East and China, the fast-growing economic growth is anticipated to stimulate the change in the health and the nutrition perspective that comes in more of organic bananas, you would say, and that would support demand of bananas beyond population growth. The production from the leading exporting countries of Latin America and the Caribbean is expected to reach almost 35 million tons by 2029. Encouraged by the rising demand from key importing markets, most importantly, the European Union, United States, and Russia. The largest exports for the region, critically being Ecuador, Guatemala, Colombia, and Costa Rica, all are well positioned to benefit from this rise, assuming that the production of the growth can be shielded by the erratic weather conditions and disease outbreaks. Exports from the Philippines are expected to be mainly driven by import demand from China, which per capita consumption is expected to rise by 1% per annum, as well as sustained income-driven demand by Japan for more quality fruit. The primary export destination for Philippines bananas would continue to remain Japan and Korea in the near future. The successful disease management and ample investment into the yield improvement in Philippines area are expected to support the export growth from the Philippines on the supply side. Another key import market, the fourth largest increase in the per capita consumption is expected to be seen in the Russian Federation, where it is projected to rise in the banana consumption in the next coming years, backed by a more positive outlook, economic outlook. This is also expected to support exports from Ecuador primarily. Currently, the main supplier of bananas to the Russian Federation, which is expected to reach an export volume of almost 8 million tons in 2029. Well, moving on to the containerization drive, one would argue, me being from a shipping line, would always look at shipping line versus a break bulk carrier. But that being said, containerization has reduced the trade share of specialized reefer vessels over the past couple of years, which is clearly indicated in the chart, with the former accounting for almost 68% of the trade in 2019, which was up from almost 62% in 2018. So it's been slowly and gradually becoming more containerized than bulk vessels. Well, to support that growth also, there's a lot of ports around Latin America that have renewed their investments into the port infrastructure. Most notable examples are the opening of the APM container terminal in Costa Rica in the port of Moen in early 2019, the Turkish investment to upgrade the port in Puerto Bolivar in Ecuador, and the recent opening of Pasoja port also in 2019. Well, on the break bulk trends, most notably the Asian trade on the Philippines and Japan trade lanes, which closed to almost 95% of the Japan-bound business is on specialized reefer vessels. And it will continue to do so in the near future because of the traditional mindset of the Japanese supply chain model. The containerization drive would continue to happen primarily out of the west coast of America and out of Ecuador and Costa Rica and Colombia. As expectations is that heavy tonnage would be withdrawn from the market due to primarily the age of the vessel and also due to high cost of operating reefer vessels, which can have a severe effect because of the rising oil prices. So the overall number of vessels will continue to decline over the next coming few years, with under deck capacity forecast is expected to fall. This would put massive pressure on the container carriers to invest more in reefer equipment in order to cater to the growing demand need to export more in containers. Well, to speak briefly a little about the trends, right? I mean, I've been on this in this new role for a very short period of time, but I had this lovely opportunity to speak to most of the customers either in the last Berlin Fair or just through a normal phone call. But that being said, they've shared a lot of insights in terms of what keeps them up at night when it comes to their business. Well, most of you would already know what's showing on your screen, but it would be a large refresher for the larger audience. So driving into the trends that can probably potentially change the way the commodities of banana is being traded or sourced. One that comes to mind is direct sourcing from retailers. So over the years, we've seen that retailers come in directly to tender fruit with the grower, which has caused a sharp increase of retailers coming into Ecuador or any of the Latin American countries to trade directly with the growers, where it can be good for the grower because you see a steady flow of cargo with precise pipeline that has been provided by the retailer. But most of the times it always comes at a lower cost bracket than the existing market levels, which also brings to my next point of profitability to growers. Through the years, profitability of the producer has been under tremendous pressure, with the larger retailers pressing for cheap fruit prices. I mean, all of you would be in those conversations that you have during your tender sessions. The cost of operations keep increasing, while due to several underlying challenges, most of the times the cost doesn't really translate into the final selling price to the producer. In addition, this year, the farmer or the producer has been hit hard by COVID, low destination demand, and high dependency on spot market, which has further depleted their profits. Early reports would also suggest that small farms also are in the risk of running into huge losses, and we just hope is that the next year would be even better or slightly better for the producers. Well, the next would be the TR4 constant risk. The spread of TR4 is a major worry for most of the banana producing producers and the exporting countries around the world. Well, most of them have taken adequate measures to counter this particular spread of the disease, but also COVID has made that even more difficult in order to contain within the farms. But TR4 would continue to be a real risk for Cavendish bananas in Latin America. While the industry is still researching for a new strain of Cavendish bananas, we're still far from a solution. Certain farms in Latin America have been reportedly hit by TR4, a smaller portion of some farms. But if fully spread, this would have a major impact on the sourcing patterns of bananas, which brings to my next trend, which is new sourcing patterns that would potentially be disruptive for the market. Over the past couple of years, India has been the most promising in terms of local banana growers looking for improvement in the quality of bananas to reach some export markets. For the time being, they've been experimenting some growth areas into the Middle East. But if it really reaches a planned approach for the fruit to really grow, it can really get into the markets of Middle East and the Med region. Meanwhile, Chinese investments in Mexican and Colombian farms could potentially also be a disruptor in the sourcing patterns out of Latin America, while Korea would continue to import more fruit out of Colombia in the near future. When you talk about digital platforms, post-COVID, consumer buying trend has shifted more to an online platform, which in a way also disrupts the projection or the buying pattern of the final consumer. We all shop online. So the first thing that comes to mind is that, do we really need the extra fruit on our table? And then we buy as per our current need rather than walking into a retailer or a supermarket and buying something in bulk. So some believe that this may have a major impact on the overall demand, but that is something yet to be seen on how the overall thing shapes up. On organic bananas, the primary focus mainly into the European markets and the US market would the initial estimates suggest is that there will be a lot of push for organic bananas into these corridors. So that can be a major trend in terms of eating, having a more healthy lifestyle. The first thing that comes to mind when it's bananas is that it needs to be organic. Well, moving forward, so then you would think is that how does Maersk fit into all of this? Well, through the past couple of months, Maersk has transformed as a company to become a true integrator in container logistics, where we've built capabilities in every section of the client supply chain. So now you will be able to connect every dot in your supply chain and make logistics easier and simpler for everyone. Well, our markets are ever changing and fast moving than ever before. So it's critical that we have an equally agile setup to respond to these new opportunities as it comes. So our answer to this question is the journey of Maersk, the journey that Maersk has been over in the past couple of months, taking many incremental steps along the way to become a true integrator in global logistics, who simplifies the customer supply chain solution and adds value to their business. So starting from the 1st of October 2020, Maersk has optimized its commercial alignment between its brands by creating one integrated, simplified ocean product organization to manage your ocean business across Hamburg Süd and Maersk. In order to create more value for our customers across the supply chain, we've infused the passion of SAF Marine, and also with the strength of and expertise of Damco, Air, and LCL into Maersk, thus creating a good potential for the company to become a logistical integrator from end to end. Furthermore, we will be more customer-centric with our product offerings to customers, where we would gear towards delivering you a product that truly matches your needs as a customer. On the customer experience team, we would have one customer service CHB and intermodal delivery team that can provide you with the seamless delivery system to clients across the board. So our aim is basically to create more customer value through deeper integration and a simpler organization, which is more focused to deliver an efficient service to the customers. Now, with this next slide, it's super close to me, and also I'm sharing this with you because my boss has asked me to do that, so I can't say no to that. So through COVID-19, one of the most important lessons that we've learned through the entire ordeal that has been ongoing since the start of the year is that it comes down to the importance of providing a customer with a seamless experience while dealing with Maersk, especially while offering a cold chain solution to the customer. Simplifying and connecting supply chain is not only COVID imperative, or it's not only depending on having a disease outbreak or a pandemic, but it very quickly became a key foundation of our global integrator strategy and our growth ambitions for the near future, which then you would stress on two fundamental questions. One being is that how do you create value and share most value for our customers, and how do we deliver the most efficient product and solutions they buy from us? So we quickly realized that our logistic chain is not perfect. The cargo flow looks really simple on the screen, but in reality, customers face challenges in every aspect of the supply chain while navigating through various vendors and parties that are involved in their end-to-end journey of this lovely commodity, which is bananas. At any given point in time, you would have 4 to 5 vendors through the entire journey of the banana, which not necessarily understands the importance and the value of the cargo that is being loaded in that white box. So through the range of the products that we've created, we would then target on meeting the needs of the customer with reaching markets through our ocean services, where we can simplify your supply chain. Customers can also benefit from a simple and a clear value proposition, which can then enable them to focus more on their core business. Well, look at your supply chain and think of the disruptions that you faced during the past couple of months, or even the multiple people that you had to speak just to get an update on one of your containers that's lost at sea. So what if I say that, what if you get one person to contact through your entire supply chain while you are only focused on selling one thing or doing one thing, is selling and growing good quality bananas? Well, we as Maersk can be that one reliable partner that you can trust with your business to have peace of mind by knowing is that your fruit is in good hands and capable hands. So try us to know the difference that we can bring to your supply chain. Well, Maersk also through the years that we've been transporting your goods, we've understood the pain and the needs in this segment, where having fresh quality fruit delivered to the market with an unbroken supply chain would be key to your business and your brand value. Having a partner that is flexible to reach different markets and have the technology and the hardware to create ease of business and increase profitability is paramount. So these capabilities, keeping these capabilities in mind, keeping these needs in mind, we've built around our capabilities. So the first thing that you would come to mind is you need a cold store. So we have recently opened up a cold store in Russia, which is a major success, and we will continue to look at working to opening up new cold stores throughout next year that would then build and that can help integrate with our supply chain solutions. CHB and intermodal have very quickly become a backbone of our integrator vision. Most importantly is human touch. So our regional reefer experts have helped our customers with better logistical decisions, which help them transport the fruit in a better way and the most optimal way. So please reach out to one of the Maersk reps to learn on how each of these products can then help ease the stress in your logistical supply chain, or which of these solutions then fits your business needs the best. So one would say is that, how would this really help me as a customer? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that it will shorten the distance between a customer and the decision maker, which can then enhance the customer's experience for faster action, which has always been lacking for most of the shipping lines. It will allow the client to best choose the services that best suit their requirement and logistical needs. We would be more agile to develop and manage products while continuously testing our technology side of the business to improve our speed to the market. Well, most importantly is that with our expanded product range and seamless service, the customers can now further expand their ocean reach with Maersk and get into markets with one service provider instead of relying on various vendors in the supply chain that makes logistics really, really tough. On the technology side of the business, the first thing that comes to mind is transparency and digital transformation. That's what we offer with Captain Peter. So most of you must have heard of the RCM technology and Captain Peter. So Captain Peter is a visual outlay of the data that we receive through our RCM technology or our system, which then relays real-time information to our operations team as well as our clients. RCM provides real data associated with temperature, humidity, and atmosphere during the transit of your cargo. So RCM has quickly become an integral part of our reefer operations, and it helps us reduce container malfunctions, and it also helps us quickly identify any mechanical challenges that the equipment might face when it's on water. So all of our 425 vessels are equipped with satellite connection, which relays information while all of our 370,000 reefer plus equipments are now equipped with RCM devices. So whenever the units are plugged into regular electricity along the supply chain, it would start giving us feedback on the condition of your cargo. Captain Peter then also helps us provide a more face to the client and simplify the big data that we receive from our equipment during the container's journey. It also now provides a function of 24/7 chat support. If there are any major deviations from your set parameter that while placing a booking, you can instantly get an update on these units through our chat functions. And someone from Maersk will be able to provide you with details at any given point in time. Also, another functionality that has been developed is that now the contractual customer or the contractual customer for Maersk can now share the data loggers with their shippers or with their quality team with the click of a button, which was not possible in the past. We have helped hundreds of customers to understand the fruit better when it's in transit, and found out better ways of reaching markets with the same freshness and quality as it was packed. Simply by going through the data that can now be shared with our customers to engage more transparency with them. To learn more on these functionalities of Captain Peter, please reach out to one of your reefer sales experts, and we can provide you with the complete tutorial on the functionality of Captain Peter. Well, that's it for me for today, but I hope the session has been intuitive for you and informative at the same time. So if you have any questions or you would like to discuss your business in detail, please reach out to me on the email ID that had provided you initially. That's clintonmachado@maersk.com. And thank you for having me again, and hope to see you soon. Cheers.
Tiene una pregunta que es la siguiente y que quisiera compartirla. ¿Cuál ha sido el mayor impacto a nivel logístico para el banano? ¿Hubo atrasos y en qué porcentajes?
Well, the delays were quite prominent, right? I mean, I would be lying if there weren't any delays that was impacted because of COVID. But the stress has been more on us delivering the fruit as much as possible. We had our operations team working around the clock to ensure that the containers were not left behind. There were no mechanical challenges with those particular containers. So the delays, I wouldn't be able to give you a percentage per se, but most of the delays were well handled by our local team as well as our ops desk.
No sé si hay alguna otra interrogante, con mucho gusto podemos compartirla. Permítanme, por favor. ¿Cuál ha sido uno de los tropiezos en el envío del embalaje de banano y piña desde su posición y perspectiva?
So within the European Union, I think so the most issue that we faced is not with the delivery of containers, was the demand overall in European Union because of the COVID impact that you would have. So most of our volumes also, if you would know, is that it was impacted mainly into the EU region. But most of our services were going directly into the base ports in Europe. So that was not so much of an issue with regards to delays on shipping, but it was more on delays on land side operations in Europe.
¿Cuál es su visión post-COVID-19?
I'm sorry, I got to wait for that question in English. Thank you. Well, the expectation would be that the markets would bounce back for 2021. And the intention would be is that we are gearing up our services to ensure that there are no further delays, and that we deliver a structured service to most of our customers back to normal. But that being said, it's a panic mode, but we still need to see on how the markets really shape up. But the general expectation would be is that the volumes would look stable going into 2021, and we're quite hopeful, at least with the customers that we speak to, is that it would bounce back. But I wouldn't have an estimate number to give you, but at least the details that we get are quite positive.
Okay, we have another question. What is the India rule in the production sector? They improved a lot in the packaging and quality.
I'm sorry, I did not get that question.
Okay, what is the India rule in the production sector? They improved a lot in the packaging and quality.
So Like most of you know, India is the largest producer of bananas, but most of the bananas have always been consumed within the local domestic market. Also, reason being is that there were not so much of heavy investments into agriculture of bananas back in the days, which the government now is looking at trying to change. So there have been a little bit of experiments in terms of exporting of bananas out of India, which the quality has been not has been at par, you would say, but it's not going to be affecting the disruption of bananas going out to Latin America. But with regular investments from the Indian government in the agricultural land of bananas would potentially have a better outlook. But that is yet to be seen.
Hay otra pregunta. ¿Hubo implementación de nuevas tecnologías para hacer frente a los problemas logísticos? Y si fue así, ¿cuáles fueron?
So in terms of logistical challenges, most of the digitization and digital transformation or technology, you would say, is a gradual process. The company has invested a lot of resources in developing technological aspects with regards to software as well as hardware. But in the near future, you would see that there would be a lot of investments in technology from the company, and even a lot of variability and advancement in the hardware of the reefer container, which would be primarily towards the banana segment.
Bueno, si no hay más preguntas por el momento, quiero agradecer lo que ha sido la intervención de nuestro expositor, Clinton Machado, la última de esta jornada. Agradecerle, Clinton, y agradecer a todos quienes se han conectado para escuchar esta interesante ponencia. A nombre de AEBE, nuestra gratitud, y a todos los que nos han acompañado. Recuerden que los esperamos mañana muy temprano para el arranque en nuestro segundo día de conferencias en el marco de la 17ª Convención Internacional de Banano 2020 organizada por AEBE. Que tengan una excelente tarde.